Box to Bullseye has always been our way of being authentic with you guys, taking you on the journey with some standard firearms, trying out different gear, maybe some optics in the future, different setups, belts, things like that, taking them out on the range and taking you along on the journey. And today we have something that I'm very excited about. This is a Gen II Galil Ace. This is the 16-inch rifle chambered in 5.56 NATO. And the reason I'm excited about this is it might give an AR-15 a run for its money, but at the end of the day, there's only one way to find out. We just got to get into it. So the first thing we're going to do on the range today is hop over here at 5 yards. I want to get acquainted with this particular rifle. Now, a little bit about the Galil and the history of this for me. I have two different Galils. One is chambered in 5.45 by 39. The other one is a 7.62 by 39 Galil Ace. Both of those are pistols. So this one is my first rifle. It's also the first time that I have handled the Gen II Galil Aces. The one thing I'm going to say is I did have to shoot this prior to shooting this video, obviously to zero the optics. I wanted to keep this video short and to the point and give you guys data that I think is important for you. So just a quick rundown, completely stock Gen II Galil Ace. We have a Vortex Crossfire red dot on the side at a 45-degree mount. I found an old Strike Eagle 1-6 laying in the dust in the attic. So we decided to run this guy. Now, I don't even know if the illumination works. Actually, yeah, it does. The illumination works, so the battery's good, so that's pretty cool. So we're gonna be doing a little bit of experimenting as far as the sling. We just got the Blue Force Gear sling, stole it off one of my other rifles. The cool thing is this thing does use standard AR-15 mags. It does have last round hold open, and I'm gonna make a little bit of a guess here. There is a bolt release right here with your pointer finger, but it's super awkward, and I've only played with it during obviously the zeroing process, running out on a mag. I'm curious to see if that's even functional because it's very difficult to push down with my pointer finger, or if during a reload I'm gonna have to just charge the charging handle. Now this is a reciprocating charging handle, so that means it goes back and forth with every single shot. So one of the times that I was zeroing the rifle and I was doing a reload, I just stuffed the mag in. I had my hand right here when I sent that bolt home, and it punched my thumb right here pretty hard. So that's just one thing that I noticed already. So again, in typical Box to Bullseye fashion, I'm gonna take you along in the journey. This one's a little bit different because I had to get this thing set up ahead of time. So with that being said, we have the range at Site B set up with a USPSA target, a couple mini ADAPs scattered throughout the woodland, and then down at 70 yards we have a mini ADAP, and we're going to touch on all of these to kind of figure out a little bit about this rifle. So first, let's charge it up, get my Ear Pro on. All right, good to go. So now I'm going to get acquainted with this gun, learn the trigger, the manual of arms. It's similar to an AR-15, but also very different in some regards. So we're gonna do some ready up drills at 5 yards. We are going to time them first with the LPVO, then with the red dot, and then we'll discuss. All right, here we go. Hi, ready? That was a 1.03. Hi, ready with the scope? .97. Let's do a low ready. All right, threw that one low to the left. That was a .63. I'd love to get a .5 at this distance on the center A zone. .57. So now let's try it with the red dot. Again, that's the Strike Eagle 1-6. I have it on 1 power right now, and I do have the reticle illuminated on a low setting. Hi, ready? All right, threw that really high. I have to choke into that really far to get on that dot. .08. Oh, let's give it another buzz. Let's do a low ready. All right, 0.71. Let's go down and mark the hits. So the first thing that I'm going to note about this particular gun is it is extremely heavy. Now I threw one Charlie low, and I don't have a Sharpie, so we're gonna have to suffer through with a pen here. I'm gonna let all these unmarked. Actually, we'll just put a little mark there. The rest in the A zone, through a Charlie, a Bravo. We're gonna now do the same thing on the head box. Just push up and hit one round in that A zone head box. And again, I'm just trying to get a feel for how this gun points, what it feels like. And it is a little bit awkward getting this gun. I'm not exactly sure why yet. Getting it up into my shoulder. I think some of it has to do with the fact that when they shipped this Galil in the box, it comes with this cheek riser. And I put that cheek riser on so I could run more of a standard cantilever mount that you would run on an AR-15 or something like that that has a flat receiver. So I'm kind of used to Galils where you're choking in on that stock and you're kind of on a lower sight plane. So for this particular red dot, I feel like I should have it up on a riser because I have this cheek riser. But, all right, let's do the red dot first. Again, high ready on the head box, one round. All right, that was off to the right side, 1.19. Little high, 0.89. That was nice. So that one was right center, right into the A box, 0.98. Now, one other thing to note, this is sort of like an AK. I would consider it an AK variant. So you have a safety on this side. If you want to, you can start with your pointer finger up, drop safety down, and then go into the trigger. But the other thing I wanted to show you guys, let me actually get out of this sling. There we go. So what I've been doing is actually taking my thumb and pushing forward on the safety. So real quick, let me just try it that other way. I'm just gonna rock down with my pointer finger, put one round in the A zone head box with the red dot. Whoop. So I just had my finger on that bolt release, not the safety. .19. All right, let's do this one or two times with the LPVO real quick. Same deal. That was dead center in A zone. That was a 1.13. A little bit low of the A zone box, 0.94. Pretty consistent. Let's do that one more time. All right, right into the A zone box, 1.05. Let's go down and talk about it. So I think for me personally, I like the method of pushing the safety with my thumb. It just feels really awkward to take my pointer finger and rock down on the safety. They were pretty consistent, and I think part of the reason I like the thumb is because I can have a master grip around that pistol grip and not change where my finger is on the trigger, and I can just go right into it and press the trigger. So, pretty nice gun. The recoil impulse is a little bit strange so far. The trigger feels nice, but we'll talk about that at the end when we close this out. As far as next drills, we're actually gonna step right back here, and I have the range marked off at about 7 yards. We're gonna do a couple other drills where we're increasing the rate of fire and the rounds down range, just so I can kind of feel that recoil impulse. So now what we have here is one of our speed control drills. What I'm gonna do first is with both the LPVO and the red dot, just take 2 or 3 small, or I should say slow, controlled rounds. Just like I do with a pistol warm-up, how I take those controlled rounds and try to stack the group. What I'm gonna do here is establish at this distance where my holds are. And I've already done that a little bit when I was zeroing, but typically once I zero a rifle like this, I spend a lot more time on those drops. Haven't done that yet. So all we're gonna do, first with the LPVO, I'm gonna compensate for height over bore, and I'm gonna put 3 rounds into that tiny circle, and that is a 1.5 inch circle. All right, so I hit low on that. Again, this is why I wanted to work on this. I compensated for the height of her bore, but with the height of this optic over this barrel, it evidently is much higher than a regular AR-15. So because of that, I'm hitting really low at this distance with the scope. So let's do the same thing on the right target with the red dot. And at some point, I'm gonna need to do a reload. When that happens, we're just gonna organically reload, see how it goes, and then we'll analyze from there. All right, no buzzer, just a dot. Let's go down range. So with the scope, that's 3 rounds in that little group. I had that scope up here. More than likely, because this is a higher height over bore versus an AR-15, and the fact that I have this zeroed at 50 yards currently, I probably would have to aim up here, which is pretty nuts. The red dot group looked like this. Again, all of them touching on that circle. This isn't accuracy as in, hey, let's figure out what kind of precision and accuracy this thing is capable of. This is more or less just me digesting the information from this rifle. So now that I know with the scope I'm hitting really low at these distances, even with standard holdovers, I'm gonna aim at that second dot that I put up at the top, and we're gonna see if I can land those shots in that circle. And then we'll move on to other drills. All right, let's go down range. So, good information here. This is why we do box to bullseye. And this is gonna vary based on your scope, your red dot, the height of your riser. So don't look at this as gospel saying, oh, I slapped on some totally different optic than Jared, so I have to do the exact same thing. This might be different for you. Cross those off. All right, now just for fun, we're gonna do a ready up, but we're gonna put 3 rounds into the smaller circle. So the speed is gonna have to be pretty slow, but it's gonna show us consistency, and it's also gonna help me figure out the trigger reset and that recoil impulse. If a reload occurs, I'm just gonna reload the gun like I said already. So on the beep, press out from high ready, 3 rounds in the small circle. All right, let's do the same thing over here. That was a 2.42. We're gonna do the same thing with the red dot now. Get a new beep. All right, so that was kind of strange. When I pulled on the charging handle, it actually would not charge the round. So I don't know if that's something to do with the Galil. What we're gonna do is go down range, mark those hits, and I wanna do a couple reload drills now so I can kind of analyze what that reload was all about. With the LPVO, you can see my hits are right here. I threw 1. Now over here, after that reload, I did throw 1 round low. Somewhere in there, I threw that 1 round really low. What we're gonna do on this target now is some reloads. And reloads, again, are not, I'll put it this way. If you followed my page and you followed what we do here at TA Targets, you know that I think reloads are valuable, but I also think that they're not the end-all, be-all drill. So there's more to shooting than just reloads. But the reality is, when I'm learning a new platform, I need to understand how it functions. The issue that I had right there was I had a mag that was empty, the bolt locked back. I tried to pull the charging handle to let it release and grab another round, and the reality was it wouldn't do it. So I had to actually push on that bolt drop like I thought. Let's try it. We're just gonna analyze on the big circle. We'll do it with the LPVO. All right, let's do this. Let's switch mags. I'm not convinced that this is the gun, but we will find out. All right, let's do this again, a one-on-one drill. All right, 4.57. One thing that I do notice is the mags do not drop out of this gun. So I will have to probably strip every single mag from it during a reload. Let's do one more reload with the offset red dot. All right, not bad. That felt pretty good. That was a 4.32. So not terrible. All my hits are in the circle. You're gonna have to take my word for that. Now what we're gonna do on the right target, there's a 6-inch circle. I wanna come back to about 10 yards and we're gonna do a bill drill. So we're gonna do this both with LPVO and the red dot. So normally a bill drill happens at 7 yards. We laser range found this to be at 10 yards. All right, first with the LPVO. Actually, let's make sure this is the full mag. Would have been another reload drill. All right, let's do this. And then we'll go down and check hits. .64. As far as cadence, looking at a 1.38, 1.86, 0.47, 0.44. It's fairly consistent, but not as consistent as I think I'll get with this thing. I felt a little choppy now that I'm thinking about it. Do the same thing now with the offset red dot, and we're going to analyze. All right, 2.85, much faster with the offset red dot. So out of those rounds, I just threw one low. And I felt it happen as soon as I pressed the trigger. But as you can see, I've done a pretty good job here of that height over bore and getting consistent. Now, I know a lot of you are going to be asking, show us the accuracy of this gun. The reality is, for this range day at Site B, all I brought with was regular bulk range ammunition. If accuracy is something you want to see in the future, that's something we can do. For now, what we're actually going to do is come back here to the loader bucket. It's at 70 yards. We used our rangefinder. I have a mini ADAP down at 70. All I'm going to do is prop up and take 6 shots. Put the scope on 6 power. No timer, nothing. We're just going to take 6 shots. All right, let me show you guys something. This trigger is actually pretty nice. So, the Gen 2 Galils have a shorter throw safety. I can already tell you that, so it's much quicker to get the safety off. The triggers also feel a lot better. The wall is very pronounced, but it's very short. Now watch the break. Reset, wall, break. I like it. That's nice. So all 6 rounds impacted the steel at 70 yards, and the group looks like that. Now that's, again, not a true accuracy test. The ammo that I'm shooting right now is just reman bulk, 55 grain, nothing fancy. My friends that have Gen 2 16-inch Galils like this tell me that they are capable of sub-MOA accuracy. We're not going to do that in this video. We're just simply relaying information to you about the gun and how it feels. What I want to do at this point is get into some more complex drills. So we're actually going to move around, get some targets set up, get the range cleared out, and we're going to get to some moving. We're going to be doing some shooting on the move, some transitions, and then at the end, we'll close out and give you guys a full rundown on what this Galil's like. One thing to keep in mind about box to bullseye is this is not a full product review, and I say that every time because I just want to be careful with you guys and let you know that one day on the range isn't enough. But with that being said, let's get into these drills. Let's have some fun. We'll close it out at the end, let you know what I think about the Gen 2 16-inch 5.56 Galil Ace from IWI. That was a 2.73 at about 20 yards. So at this point, I've now officially had a couple hours with the Galil Ace Gen 2 5.56. So I think that I can give you guys a little bit of at least a rundown of what I'm seeing. The first thing that I'm going to touch on is the fact that I really like how IWI changed the safeties to be what would essentially be like a 45-degree safety on an AR-15. It's much shorter. Now, this is the first time that I've ever used a 5.56 Galil. The mag release is very similar to an AR-15. It is also ambidextrous. So if you look on the other side, there is a mag release for you over there as well. If you're left-handed, you won't be able to reach the bolt drop, but like I suspected, it's actually very difficult to push down on that bolt catch. So the fastest way that I found for my reloads was to just simply insert the new magazine and then pull back on the charging handle to charge it. This gun is heavy compared to an AR-15, I would say. But if you're looking for a platform that's a little bit different, still has a lot of the features of an AR-15, runs the same magazines, and has a more refined rail versus the Gen 1 Galils, this is a pretty slick little gun, to be honest. And the fact that it does have the newer rail is pretty sweet. One of my gripes about the original Galil Ace variants was the fact that the rail that they had on the front was, number one, huge, but number two, it just wasn't very functional. You didn't have a lot of Picatinny rail space to mount accessories. So for this, we could mount anything from a forward-mounted laser, some sort of white light, anything we really want. We can put on here bipod on the bottom when we start doing some accuracy testing. So the limitations are far and few between. You can really do what you want with this particular gun. And I would assume, and although I can't say this at this point because this wasn't a durability test, I would assume that this thing is going to be every bit as reliable as the other Galil Aces have been for me in the past. Another thing to note, if you like having something that has a folder or a backpack gun, the Galils are a pretty solid option, and I've really enjoyed the 5.45 and the 7.62 by 39. Now, the 16-inch version of this obviously isn't really meant for a backpack, but if you're hunting or you enjoy training with combat firearms like this, this is a good option. But the reason I was saying that about the bags is the fact that they do have a folding adapter already on them. Not really an adapter, but they have the ability to fold the stock from factory, and you can shoot it in the folded position because of the action style. So guys, like I say in every video, this really isn't a product review or product endorsement. I'm not telling you to go out and buy this gun. Hopefully some of the things that you saw in this video help you out. There are some quirks with this gun. It is a little bit awkward for me to point versus an AR-15. That cheek riser does get in the way of the red dot. And honestly, that's one of the things that I'm gonna change right away. I'm gonna put this dot up on a riser because I can't choke down enough on that dot with the current setup. Again, all that varies with whatever you do, and you can pop this cheek riser off as well. Other than that, I'm just going to keep learning this particular rifle, and we'll keep doing some updates on our Instagram page. If you like what you saw or you have questions about this gun and you want me to go deeper in depth, leave them down in the comment section. And while you're down there leaving a comment or trolling us, hit that subscribe button, like the video. Guys, we'll catch you in the next one.